welcome back to Couch Critics.
Hi guys, we're Couch Critics and today we're reviewing Challengers.
Yes, it's the latest Lucas Guadagnino movie.
Yes, and also we're back. You guys don't know it,
back.
but we were gone for 3 weeks. We pre-filmed the previous episodes and now we're back and it's so exciting.
How was your vacation?
It was really good. It was so relaxing, but yeah, I'm happy to be back to my routine as well. I miss this. I miss this action and being busy and all of it, but sometimes it's good to take a break, so yeah.
I totally agree. I'm so happy you're back. I was 1 week away from signing up to tennis classes because all I did when she was gone was watch Challengers.
Yes.
I watched it for at least 3 times.
No.
Yeah.
It's a good movie. I watched it only once. I watched it 2 days ago.
When we used to not have this podcast, I would watch the same movies every single week, and yeah, it was an issue.
Yeah, for me it was the opposite. It's a podcast that encouraged me to start watching movies more often because before then it was only you who would like tell me, Ruby, there's this great movie, we have to go and watch it. But besides that, I hadn't gone to the movies for a really long time. So I'm starting to enjoy it again and enjoy watching movies.
That's
so
awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're back.
Yes, I'm glad to be back and to be doing this again.
Same.
All right.
So, Lucas Guadagnino.
Challengers. Have you watched another of his movies?
Yeah, I've seen a few. I saw Suspiria with Dakota Johnson.
Okay.
Very weird remake of the original Suspiria. It's definitely a weird movie, but I loved it. I watched Call Me By Your Name and Bones and All, also with Timothée Chalamet. It's a cannibal movie.
It's the same director as Call Me By Your Name?
Yeah.
No way, I had no idea. But I was gonna say, the movie had a very indie feel, which I did not expect at first, but it did feel like an indie movie, and now that you're saying it's the same director from Call Me By Your Name, makes a lot of sense.
It is the same, but you know what, like, whenever I remember that it's the same director who directed, like, all of these movies, it's very weird, because, like, those movies are very, very different from each other. It's like he tries to explore a different genre each time. To me, Suspiria was definitely a thriller/horror movie. Call Me By Your Name, romance, and Bones and All, kind of horror and romance. Okay. Challengers, I don't know what it is, but it's super cute.
Yeah.
Cool. And yeah, I like his work overall. Yeah, but I think that Challengers was fun. It's my favorite one so far. What about you?
I like Call Me By Your Name as well, but I don't think they're comparable, actually. I think they're two very different movies. So I don't think I can compare them and see which one was my favorite, because both of them were really good in different ways. But yeah, Challengers, I really liked it. I'm still having a hard time like trying to explain the synopsis in my head, because for me it's like a bubble, like it's just a bubble about 3 tennis players, and they're just like their relationship and the evolution of their relationship, how it changes, how it's basically just a relationship between 3 people. And yeah, that's how I would describe it. How would you describe the synopsis of this movie?
I would say that it's definitely a love story between it's a love story about love and passion. This is how I would describe it, because although like the movie makes you think that the story is about art and what's her name? Tisha,
yeah. Tashi,
yeah. Tashi. Or like Tashi and Patrick. I think that the real love story here is between Tashi and tennis, and how far is she willing to go to pursue that love and that validation, and how toxic that relationship is, and all the codependency that results from it. And so it's my favorite kind of movies, the movies about tortured artists and people who are obsessed with something that it consumes them completely, and I feel like it falls into the same genre as Black Swan and Whiplash and I, Tonya, but it does have that other love element that includes Patrick and Art.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it was mostly the love story between Tashi and Tennis. I love that. But I also think it's also about the friendship between Patrick and Art. And I think that's another aspect of the movie. And then we have Tashi that comes in between that friendship, and then comes this manipulation, because I think that all three of them were manipulating each other in different ways. And I think that was a fun twist to the movie. So yeah, I agree with you. I liked it.
Zendaya.
Oof, Zendaya.
You know, like we talked in some previous episodes about how we couldn't stand some actors on screen, and it's very weird to me because I did not feel like I was seeing Zendaya in this movie. Like to me, it was Tashi, and I'm not sick of Zendaya yet on screen, and I try to think about why, because like, for example, if I see like one more trailer with Timothée Chalamet, or like, I don't know, Florence Pugh, I'm not gonna watch it. On it, like, maybe I will, but like I'm not gonna be excited about this movie. But for some reason, I was really excited for Challengers, because I feel like I haven't seen Zendaya portray this kind of character before.
Yes.
And yeah, she looked amazing. Her character was definitely so different from what she is.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I agree with you, and I actually want to add something to it. I think the reason why we're not bored of Zendaya yet is because she's one of those actresses who embraces taking a secondary role. Like, we've seen her in Spider-Man, we've seen her in June, but she was never taking all of the place. Like, she was always not always a supporting character, but even like she doesn't take up all the space. She doesn't try to be the main character of certain movies. And when she's a supporting character, she does it so well, in terms of she allows the main character to have their place and to just be the main character. Whereas in Challengers, I think it's the first movie where we see, okay, that's wrong. I've seen her in other movies like Malcolm and Mary, and that's an indie movie that was on Netflix. But I think it was one of the few movies where she was the lead. And yeah, that's what's refreshing about Zendaya. Also, every time she takes a role, she takes it in a different way. And even when she's playing a vicious character, like in Challengers, I don't think she was a vicious character, but I think there was some vicious aspects to her character. She portrays them so authentically that makes her seem different. And I think that's what everybody wants to see in actors. So yeah.
I liked this unlikable Zendaya character.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, she looked amazing. Like, I don't know, like, I can't remember the last movie where they made Zendaya dress up that well.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, the first time when I watched Challengers, it was in this small movie theater. It's the one that you went to.
Yeah.
And I was basically alone there. But the second time, it was downtown, and it was packed. And for some reason, I don't know if it was an interactive experience whatsoever, but like whenever Zendaya would say anything, people would start to like talk and respond to her, and like whenever she was on screen, everyone went like, "Whoa," because she was that breathtaking, and she was that menacing and intimidating, and yeah, I feel like that's what Tashi is, but I'm glad that Zendaya is the one who portrayed Tashi.
Yeah, and I think she has a lot in common with Tashi. I mean, Tashi is a prodigy when it comes to tennis. She started playing at a very young age. And Zendaya, I mean, when it comes to acting, she's been doing it for a very long time. So I think I don't want to say it was easy, but there was a lot of resemblance between her actual personality and the character. And that, I would like to believe that this helped her be more authentic to the role. Speaking of interactive experiences, I went to a movie theater that's usually not busy, but the day on which I went, there was quite a few people, and there was a girl at the end of the movie who just stood up and started clapping, and I was like, yes, I know where this is coming from, and I agree with you. So yeah, just to say, it's so fun to watch movies in theater because you get to hear people laugh when a joke is being said, or like sometimes they would laugh and I wouldn't understand the joke, and I'd be like, wait, did I miss something? So it's really fun to watch movies in theaters.
Definitely. both of my experiences were very different. Like the first time, I was really into it. Like it was serious.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I would see Zendaya or like the other two guys on screen, I took everything that they said seriously. But for some reason, when I when I watched it with like other people, a packed theater, every line, like almost every line that Zendaya would say was a joke, and the joke landed perfectly. Like, I'm thinking of one right now is when Art asks her if she could love him forever, and she goes like, "Do you think I'm Jesus?" Or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, I loved her lines, and I loved the like sarcasm and like humor that's not really, I don't know, it's just
Also, her facial expression when she was
yes.
having that
Yeah.
conversation with Patrick, and he's like all excited to ask her to be his coach, and she just has this like very confused frown on her face, and it's the funniest frown ever. Like you could read everything that she's thinking on her face, and it's just hilarious.
Yeah, she really did deliver on this role. It was incredible. Speaking of Zendaya, I want to talk about the hairstyles and makeup because I think that this helped us move forward in the movie. The timeline in the movie was very messed up. Sometimes we're like 13 years later, sometimes we were when they were like in their early 20s, teens, etc. And I think the hair was the one thing that helped me like understand when the scene was happening, and I think that was incredible. I think the makeup artists as well did a great job because we could see like Zendaya seemed like to be in her mid 30s later in the movie, and she seemed like she was in her early 20s in the beginning of the movie. And I think that's such a great job. Like they were able, without using, I don't know if they used any effects or anything, but
I don't think so.
they were able to make us understand the timeline of the movie with the hair and makeup, and that requires a lot of talent.
Can we talk about the guys
Yes.
in the movie?
Do you know the actors?
Absolutely not. But you know what? Like one of them, Patrick, he's doing a movie with Paul Mescal soon. So
Oh, we will be reviewing that.
because we love Paul Mescal.
Yes.
Yeah. Which one was your favorite?
Oh my god. I did not think of that. Yes. I have to think about it now. I think on top of my head I would say Patrick. I loved like his nonchalance. I loved his unseriousness. I just loved how messy he was. I think Art was very I think Art was very uncertain of himself, even though he tried to show confidence and everything. But yet he was still very manipulative. Like at some time, the first time he had like when he was in college with Tashi and Patrick, and he was trying to like read ideas in their head, which he ended up like succeeding at it. He caused a fight between them without them knowing, because he was inducing conversations that they weren't ready to have. So yeah, but I think I didn't like that about him. I didn't like the fact that he didn't seem confident, and at the same time was trying to mess up a relationship between someone he had a crush on and his best friend. So yeah, I think Patrick was straightforward and honest from the beginning of the movie, so that's why he was my favorite one between the two. What about you?
I totally see your point. The first time when I watched the movie, I think I liked Art better because it was more like, I was discovering the movie for the first time. I was still thinking about the ending, and like when you think about the ending, you're like, okay, like you saw your girlfriend that you dated for like 3 weeks, but like it's his wife now, and like you're literally cheating with his wife, and it's even more messed up. But when I watched it the first time, I'm like, he did steal his girlfriend, and he did go. He went to her and he told her that her boyfriend didn't love her. So I was Team Patrick the second time that I watched the movie, and I cannot pick a side. I think that like they both, and I think it's this is a good thing about this movie is that you could see each one of them's side, and I feel like this is what happens in real life. Like you don't have a villain, you don't have like a protagonist and an antagonist. Like you have two people who want something and they go after it, and like sometimes it ends up hurting a few people, but that doesn't mean that they're fundamentally bad people.
I'm gonna ask a question that might be a bit reciproc. Do you think that Art was going for what he wanted? Because towards the end of the movie, it felt like he wanted something and he wasn't doing it because of Tashi. So, like he wanted to retire and he kept playing tennis.
I think they're all like going after something.
Yeah.
It's like a circle that you can imagine. Tashi's going after tennis. Tennis is going after art. Art is going after Tashi. And Patrick is going after art too. And
Patrick is going after everything. He's going after art. He's going after Tashi. He's going after tennis.
I don't think he's going after Tashi nor tennis. I think he's just going after art. I feel like he saw through Tashi's manipulation from the start when she asked him to be his coach, and when she didn't get what she wanted, she went after art, and he, to me, like toward the entire movie, was all he wanted was to get his friend back, and sometimes he did it the hard way by trying to hurt him, but like his main goal was to get Art's attention.
Oh my god, now that you're saying it, I understand the ending better. Because, yes, I just had a light bulb moment. Because I did not understand the hug that happened towards the end. And now that you're saying it, it just makes sense. Art and Patrick ended up, like, hugging at the end of the movie, which is a spoiler, but, like, you have to watch the movie to understand why it's a spoiler. And then we have Tashi, who just ended up screaming, "Come on," after tennis. So basically, Tashi got what she wanted, which was a good tennis game.
Yeah.
And Art and Patrick got what they wanted, which was their friendship back. Oh my god.
Yeah, because like if you think about it, like all Tashi wanted was for Art to win.
Yeah.
And so she did like contribute. She contributed in some way to his win, and like he did win. Patrick gave Tashi what she wanted. He got his friend back. Art wasn't gonna get a divorce, and Tashi was getting her husband to like keep playing and not retire. So but if you think about it, is it like a good ending? I think it's sad, like, because like they're still like very codependent with each other, and like they don't have that realization that's like, oh my god, like this is not what I want, I need to walk away. Like there isn't that character development. Like, they're just back at square one, and it goes to show how codependent they are and how toxic they are for each other. And it's also amazing because like it's very rare for us in movies to not have a happy ending.
Yeah.
It's always like directors are always trying to like make everyone happy, and I think it's bold to like go with an ending like this.
I think the ending of this movie just comes to show that there's never gonna be something. And I'm sorry to say that, but I think the movie just wants to show that there's never going to be just a love story between Tashi and Art, or Tashi and Patrick, or it's always going to be confusing between the three of them. So I don't know. I don't know if that's the goal or not, but I just think that it's just that, and I don't know.
Did you notice that like the Adidas party they had, Art and Patrick were wearing the same outfits that Elio wore in Call Me By Your Name?
I did not notice that at all, no.
I'm not sure, but like I looked it up, no one's talking about it, but it's literally the same ones.
Oh my god. What does this mean? Can we talk about the timeline of the movie? Because the way I saw it, I had watched the trailer. I've been seeing the trailer popping up on my timeline like 6 months before the movie came out, and I was really looking forward to it. And when the movie started, I was very confused to see it start when they were both in their 30s, I believe. So for me, I was like, wait, what? Isn't it gonna start when they were young? And to me, the way I understood it, I felt like the movie was a continuity to the trailer. Since the timeline went back and forth a lot, felt like the trailer was like the start of the movie, and then the movie starts and just keeps going. I don't know if it makes sense, but it just comes to say how it's just like, I don't know, the timeline is so confusing, and yet it was well delivered.
I totally agree with you, but I don't think that it was well delivered, at least not for me. Like, to me it was so messy, and if I could say that I didn't like something about this movie, it would be this.
Yeah.
And like it did not make sense. I would have appreciated if they put some, I don't know, like indication besides Zendaya's hair, because it wasn't that obvious, and
Yeah.
it did. I was like, sometimes I would be kind of unfocused because I would try to figure out like which area were we watching, and so it's I did not like the way that it was edited. Also, speaking of things that I did not like, I feel like this director, Lucas Guadagnino, he kind of uses the same palette whenever he does a movie.
Okay.
And so for me, it was like very similar tones and colors as Call Me by Your Name, and to me, it did not work because this movie is very clubby. It's very trendy. It's very fun. It's trying to be the Saltburn of the summer. It's trying to get on like the TikTok,
Yeah.
you know, like trends and everything. Like, and so if you're targeting a certain audience, if you're trying to be very modern, especially with the music was phenomenal in this movie. Like, it felt like you were in a crazy rave in a tennis field. Um, I would have loved like a more vibrant palette, kind of like Gaspar Noé-ish.
Okay.
And yeah, I did not like the colors. It felt old.
I do agree that it needed brighter colors. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yes.
Were there things that you didn't like?
Things that I didn't like.
It's very hard because it was such a chaotic, fun movie.
What I didn't like is actually something I really thought was clever and I actually liked, just didn't make me feel good. There was like a lot of times where the camera was just moving fast and all over the place, especially in the last scene where the camera was literally the tennis ball. I think that was very, like, it made me feel dizzy, so I didn't like that. But at the same time, I think it was such a nice piece of art. So, yeah.